All right, what's going on, everybody? So today we are building a DJ booth out of T-Slaw extrusions. This DJ booth is going to be inspired by the Toadmatics 65. Now, I think this is a great DJ booth. It's a little expensive, and there's a couple different things that I would like to do on this one, so we're going to make those modifications today. The first thing that I want to do is I would use this TV instead. I went to my local Best Buy and checked it out. This TV is a matte finish, and when we go to put that protective layer in front of the TV, I think this is going to make it allow it to pop a lot more. Furthermore, we're going to be using these pneumatic casters. Those add an overall height of 9.5 inches. And then we're going to be creating some trim out of the HDE high density plastic. So I've already designed this once. This is what the finished product looks like. So here's the booth. Here is the plastics. Okay. So then these are trim pieces that we will, we'll attach those on site. So to cover up the wheels and everything. But the thing I like about this is that it frames in the TV nicely. Gives us a little bit of a lip here to give it more of that booth feel. This is acrylic. This is a abrasion resistant plastic. And then, so there's a couple other things that we kind of did here that's just a little bit different that I think is going to just be a little bit more customizable to what I want to do. So we are going to just kind of rebuild this together using this existing one as our inspiration. And just kind of take you guys along for the ride. So I'm going to move this over. We're going to create a little room for ourselves over here. So getting started, we're looking at a 35.5 2x2 T-slotted extrusion. So we'll just let's build this one perpendicular to that one. No, we'll build it side by side actually. We should have enough room right here. So we'll take that up to 36. This doesn't like to do halves, so we'll have to go here, 35.5. We know we're going to need 4 of these. So in order to duplicate, you go hold this down. You say you want it to move. We'll call it 5 spaces times 1, and that'll be our multiplier, just like that. Again, here 5 times 1. Oops. Hold this 5 times 1. Enter. And again, I guess I could have just made all 3, but it's okay. 5 times 1. Oops. 5 times 1. And I'm not an expert in this program by any stretch of the imagination, but I like working in it. So we'll move this over, kind of start getting our basic shapes. So now we'll take a look here. We see that this is a slightly different piece of extrusion. This is our 1020, and we need a 20-inch piece of that. So we'll go down here, we'll grab our 1020, and we'll start building out the basic frame. And you hit spacebar if it's not angled the right way. So like that. Okay, so now we can take this piece and kind of get it over to where we want it to be. Looks like it's somewhere in there, but then we'll get this tightened up. Okay. Now comes the top piece. Okay, so this is what's going to kind of hold our TV in. So this is a 1020 T-slotted extrusion with 57 inches. So let's get this out of the way like that. Oh, looks like we got one more than we need. Move this over. Okay, it just keeps creating more. I'm not sure. Why is it doing that? Okay. There we go. It's still doing it. Okay. 1020. this, and this is, like we said, is going to be 57, and that correlates just to the inside of that piece there. Now if we look here, okay, 57, so we see that corner to corner physical dimensions aligns perfectly with this here, 57. So that means this wall and this wall are going to hold that TV in real nice and snug. Now, one thing, since this is going to be somewhat presentable based on the position of the TV, we're actually going to get these in anodized pieces, just like this. And it pretty much doubles the cost, but it is the look that we're going for. Now, everything doesn't have to be anodized because we are going to put that trim on it. But for the stuff that the TV is going to be kind of connected to, we want it to have that nice, really clean black look to it. So I'm going to move this over here, and we're going to do another piece of T20 or 1020, just like we did here. Okay. And that 20 inches. Okay, so let's check our measurements. We have a 20 inch there, 20 inches there, 35 and a half, 35 and a half. Okay, so everything's looking good and symmetrical. So now we can start adding some of our bottom pieces. So this is going to be another 20 inch piece, we know that. Okay, I don't think something's right there. Yeah. So instead of having to just redo it, we can go like this and then scooch that over. 1020, boom. That's a 20 piece, okay. This program takes a little time to kind of get used to. I'm still not perfect with it, but kind of starting to get the hang of it a little bit. And then let's see, I think we have another piece of 1020 across the back here. Yep. Okay. So we're starting to get some of our basic sort of boxed in shapes here. Now, this is about 9 inches off of the ground. No, 10 rather, because this says it's going to add an overall 9.5 inches. So we'll just make it 10. And so what we can do to kind of simulate that height is we'll grab all of this. Well, maybe we'll go like, okay, let me get a different angle here. Okay, I think that, then we'll manually select some of these pieces just like that. Oh, dang it. It's kind of a tough program. It's not the easiest program I've ever worked in, but now we can get all these pieces raised up 10 inches. This one didn't want to go, so we'll do this one independently. And this one missed too. Okay. So now we know we can comfortably put our pneumatic wheels under this. So we can kind of just use our imagination, because none of the pneumatic wheels in the program are that tall. So now we can kind of take a look, say from this corner to the ground, we have 45 inches, which is a good height for a booth. Now that means we want to bring our, like we'll see here, this is what our DJ booth or our DJ tabletop is going to sit on. So we can look at this. This is 28 inches up from the bottom. And if we were to say move it, we can move it 5.5 inches to get what we want. So let's kind of start popping in a 1020 here, and it'll be 28 inches up from the bottom, 28 and a half, 7 inches from the top. So if this is, let's measure it again. 45 and a half top to bottom. We want to take 5.5 inches off of that because I like a 40-inch DJ booth. So let's see, somewhere between 5 and 6, maybe a little under. We'll do 6, just like that. Okay, and so now the reinforcements will be changed because we want this here, just like that, and I'll explain why in a minute. Just like that. We want to leave this external channel open because we're going to put some acrylic in there, and then what we'll do here is we'll run one across the back as well, and I think that's going to help support the TV. No, sorry, that placement is incorrect. It's going to be here. I believe that will help support the TV nicely. Okay, so now if we go back over here, we see that this is approximately, see this gasket, this is not supposed to be in the middle there. It's because I moved it. What's the measurements here? 20. It's doing some weird stuff right now. It's like measuring at a vertical axis, but it looks like, let's just measure it. Here to here, 14.5 inches. Kind of an odd split there, but let's see what we can get here with these extrusions, because as we add more extrusions, it'll kind of limit us on our, okay, so if we go 15, and then from the other side, we'll do 15 there. Okay, and then down here, 15. Okay, just like that. So we're really kind of starting to already take a pretty basic shape. Now, I want to talk about kind of the TV itself. Now there's going to be, we can actually just add that now. So we'll go here, and we want to do polycarbonate. What is clear? Okay, 1/4 inch abrasion resistant. Now if you hold shift while you click it in, it'll add with gaskets. Okay, so that has the gaskets in there, which is going to help create a more snug fit. And so that means, you know, now we're looking at this much room here for our TV between this back bar and the front. And if we look here, we can see that the widest part of the TV is 2.2 inches. So if we pull out our measurement, go from here to here, we know that this is a 2-inch T-bar, right? So some of that TV is going to have to hang out over the backside here. So maybe we'll scoot this back a scotch, just like that. Now that'll give us more time, more space. From here to the outside of that is 3 inches. So that'll make the TV definitely nice and snug. So we'll have to shorten this one up. 18. And the thing that's really nice about this program too is that it shows you all the fasteners, and when you go to order all this stuff, it'll have a bunch of pre-drilled selections. You know, I had this. Now, if we look at the TV, it does, it is pretty wide. It is pretty like symmetrical all the way down. So I guess we should err on the side of caution, give a little bit of room there for the TV to kind of sit in. And so then what we can do is we can add these rubber channels, and I think that's going to help kind of snug that TV in even more. It's kind of like a gasket, but so that's all the way around. So that TV is going to kind of sit in there just like that. Okay. So now we can go in here and start looking at some acrylic. 4.5, 3/16, 6 mil, quarter. So we'll go 1/4 inch black acrylic. Like I said, if you go control left, it'll create with gasket. Oh, actually, I'll need to redo that front because I did shift left. So control left. Okay, cannot create gasket panel for 1/4 inch. So let's delete that and try 3/16. Control, click. Okay, it worked. So we know that that is in there with a gasket, so it's going to be nice and tight. Same here. Beautiful. Okay. And if I can get this to move for me, we're going to redo the front piece because I did not control. Okay, can't create gasket and the T101, so we need to look at a different polycarbonate. 1/4 inch. Where's the 3? Do we have a 3/16? Recycled. 1/4 inch. Okay, there's the 3/16. .316 clear abrasion resistant polycarbonate. Control, click. Now the gasket is in there. Okay. So we're kind of looking at a majority of this really taken care of already. That basic frame. You know, on my original design, I had this piece all the way out to the front. I'm starting to think otherwise. You know, let's just get another measurement on it real quick. We see from there to there. What is that? Yeah, it's only 1.5 inches. Now it is towards the top, which, you know, it could. 2.2. TV. This is what we're going to do. To give us best of both worlds, we are going to zoom out, move over to here. No, that's not going to work either. I think it's going to be... just does look a little funky. Let's come back to it. Let me think about it. Okay, so let's start working on some trim. So what we want to do here is a mounted panel, the HDPE, and then we want to find some black, 1/4 inch black, 6 mil, 3/16. So I think for trim, probably want to go a little thicker, so we'll go 1/4 inch. Now, if the mounting, we might get a notification saying that the hardware, not all of the hardware selected screw parameters match the user's preference. Used BHS6. Okay, but that's okay because I'm thinking that we might not even screw this in. think we might find some type of alternative adhesive to lock this in. So we'll put this here. Then thinking we'll run trim like that. And then we'll run 2-inch trim here. Okay. Now this will cover a little bit of the plastic, but I think that's gonna be okay. Let's go 2 inches just like that. Okay. So I like that. It's got a really nice clean finished look. Now what I like doing on the sides here is we're gonna go 3 inches. Okay, just like that. And just like that. Then here, 2. You know, I'm not sure exactly why. I just like the way this looks a little bit better on the sides. And when you do 2 inches, you can still see some of the extrusion. So I think this helps just make it a little cleaner. Okay, so it's kind of a weird angle here. We have a 3-inch piece. Runs down just like that. 3-inch piece just like that. And we will do a 2-inch piece here. Oops. So one thing that sucks about this program is there's no, like, you can't control Z anything. So if you accidentally delete something, it's just deleted, unfortunately. Okay, just like that. In there. And actually I'm going to go back and redo the ones on the other side because I think they might be offset a little bit, but it's okay. If they are, we can cut them, but just for the sake of doing it right the first time, I want to get back in here and get it right on the money. See, it wants to go over a little bit, which maybe that's how it's supposed to be. Not sure. If it is, we'll cut it down a little bit. Now for the top piece, this was an interesting one. It took a second to figure out how to get it perfect, but what we want to do is get right there in the corner, just like that. And we want this to run 2 inches over, okay? So we know that we have a depth of 24, take out 26, and it's going to be a 4-inch piece, just like that. Okay, so then those fasteners aren't available, that's all right. Let's get here, and from here to here, 26, and 4. Gives us a little bit of a lip. Okay, and then from here, we can just go here to here, out like that. And that will give us a flush lip all around the outside. Okay. So the next thing we want to do is you can use this same HDPE for the top of the DJ booth. Now, this isn't exactly how I want my top to be. So what I'll show you, what we're going to do is we're going to use this for getting our dimensions. So we'll go here, bang this over like so, and this will kind of cut its way around these pieces here. So now you can see if we move this out, it's got these cuts where we want it to be. Now this would be an $85 piece of plastic. I personally like the carpeted black type of stuff. So I would swap this out with some plywood or some wood underneath and then carpeted it myself. So we might exclude it from the build, but just for the sake of kind of making things easy, we'll keep it in so we can kind of get an idea of what this build's going to cost. So it runs right up to the back of the TV. You can see we got plenty of room here, this same space. And so the TV, we'll be able to see just a little tail end of the TV right there. We got these gaskets in here to kind of lock it in. I've considered, let's at least run another gasket here just so we have it in the build. And there's some additional hardware, but I figured if we need a little space on the backside here, we can use some wedges, some spacers, or something to kind of get a real true snug fit. But we built this frame around the TV itself, so I have a pretty good feeling that it's going to be about where we want it. Oops, see now I'm... Okay. Let's see, what are we missing? So we need to get the lower panels locked in, and that's kind of it. So if we know we're about 10 inches off the ground now, take off half an inch. No, yeah, that's right. Let's grab some more HDPE. And okay, so in order to build these panels, I had to get a little creative by, well, we can get creative back here. Let's do it like this. Okay. So let me put in a piece of, we'll put in a piece of a groove 2020 here. So we know kind of what our frame of reference is, right? So I want this at the bottom, and that's 10. Okay, so in our mind, we're going to use our imagination, and these are our wheels. But it's going to help us because it's going to allow us to build the wheel covers, the trim that's going to go on after we are set up and we kind of have rolled our booth into the event. Okay. 10, just like that. Okay. So, if you wanted a stationary booth, this isn't a bad move. If you're build one for club or, whatever. So now we can go back, build our panels like this. Okay. Get nice and tight in there, just like that. Boom. Our panels are 10. Oops. A little wider than we want it to be. 9.5, 9 to 10.5. Okay, I must have gotten something wrong there. Let me click out. That should do it. Okay, so actually that looks like it's perfect because that's going to be 9.5 inches right there. Okay, and so then we'll be able to do the same thing on this side. Okay. Just like that. Boom. Okay. So that is more or less the finished product. We can, oops. I'll delete this old one. Okay. Let's take this. Let's move this over. The gasket's move in a weird way when I do that. Let's just look at it from here. Okay, so your TV will be right in there. These will be your wheel covers. And that's what it'll look like, fully trimmed in, fully flushed out from the DJ booth. You got 6 inches of clearance here to hide all your gear and equipment. Your DJ platform is, well, I think we can just actually click here. 59 inches wide, maybe a little less, 58. Pretty wide gap. And that's, let's see, what's the depth here? Oh. From there, 21. That's pretty good. like that. So then overall dimensions is, so we'll start from this corner to about that corner there. That, let me see, I guess it'd be just like that. Okay, 65, 26, 46. So let's go ahead and ask chat real quick. If a DJ booth is 55 by 26 by 46, will it fit in most doorways, elevators, and hallways? Oh wait, I had that wrong. 65, 26, 48. Let's do a faster one. 65 by 26 by 48 DJ booth. Will it fit in most doorways, hallways, service elevators, and general areas to get through? 65 long, 26 wide, 48 high. Tight turns, okay. Could be awkward in narrow hallways. Should be fine with proper aligning. Will fit inside most service elevators. Venues are designed to move catering carts 26 widths well within those tolerances. Your limiting factor really is the 65-inch length. May require turning carefully in stairwells. Yes, your booth will fit in most doorways. Because now if we look here, we're a couple inches longer than the Toadmatic, because that's because of the trim. Which if we wanted to, we could make the trim, you know, removable each time, but it's not exactly what we want to do. So if we look at our total cost here, we're looking at $2,116.87, 92 pounds total weight. So we take that 2116, we add $549 to it. We're looking at $2,665 for parts with the pre-drilled areas, all of the fasteners and everything, all the plastic that you need, and then the TV. So then you got to just put it together. Now there might be some additional shipping cost for all this type of stuff, so we might as well go ahead and round up that number to $3,000, right? So then you ask yourself, is my labor of putting this together to a design that's to my specifications and to my likings worth $1,750? Me personally, I say yes, because I like custom stuff. I know that this is how I want my DJ booth. I know that this is the height that I like. I know that I would prefer to have it more trimmed out and kind of finished like that. Plus, I kind of like the idea of just, I built it myself. You know, I don't know if this is perfect, but I do think it's very usable. I bet when I go to build this, I'll run into some things and I'm like, oh, it would have been nice to have done this differently or that differently. Fortunately, I am a multi-op. I do plan on building multiples of these in the future for my team. So I do think that, you know, I'll deal with some bumps and bruises on a prototype. And then as I get better at it, you know, my guys will have really nice ones. Or maybe we want to run two at an event, one for me, one for a video guy. You know, we have a lot of different options there, but so this is how I built the design side of my TV booth, inspired by Toadmatic. I hope you guys find this useful. If you feel crafty or feel inclined to build your own, it's a really fun process once you figure out the program. It's not the smoothest program in the world, but it is pretty fun. And yeah, this is kind of a part one. I'm going to be ordering these supplies here soon, and then I want to do a whole build video, and then we'll eventually see it at some weddings, at some gigs, with, you know, the couple's animated monogram on there, or maybe we'll connect it to the photo booth or something and find some really cool, fun ways to do things like that. But for now, that's the design side of this process. Part one. I'll see you guys in part two. Peace.